It was an announcement from the Trump administration that sent a chill wind through New England communities that consider themselves sanctuary cities. Federal grants they receive through the Department of Justice could be at risk.
Failure to remedy violations could result in withholding grants, termination of grants, and disbarment or ineligibility for future grants.
Sanctuary cities, places like Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, Chelsea, Northampton, they don't comply with all federal immigration laws, like turning in someone who's undocumented but is charged only with a misdemeanor.
Well, that's very, disheartening, but I hope that the American people and their constituents in their own cities will communicate with them that monies that go for law enforcement only go to cities who are participating in an effective, collegial, cooperative way with the federal government.
The city of Boston, for example, received more than $7 million in DOJ grants last year, with about $4 million going to the police department alone. This action by the Trump administration is narrower than what was originally suggested, the termination of all federal funds to these communities. Today in Washington, Bristol County Sheriff Tom Hodgson, he argued the federal government should go even farther.
If these sanctuary cities are going to harbor and conceal criminally illegal aliens from ICE, which is in direct violation of Title VIII of the U.S. Code, federal arrest warrants should be issued for their elected officials.
President Trump also took time to sign another executive order that unravels more of what President Obama did during his 2 terms, this time rolling back about a half dozen climate change-related orders, including lifting carbon emissions restrictions that will help the coal industry. Joining me for more on what the administration's recent actions mean around here are Somerville Mayor Joe Curtatone. Mr. Mayor, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And freelance journalist Jennifer Braceras. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you, too. So if someone is here in this country illegally and a community like yours refuses to cooperate with immigration authorities, why shouldn't there be a penalty for your failure to comply?
Well, where we are in compliance, I would argue, we cooperate with the DEA, with ICE, with the FBI, have our officers assigned to those agencies. And if you commit a felony or a violent crime, you're a dangerous person, we already work with those agencies to remove those people from our community. But what we're not going to do is violate the Constitution. We're not going to hold someone without just cause or turn someone in because they had their taillight busted or ran a red light on their bicycle, which you'll get a ticket for in Somerville, Jim, as you know, and break families apart and make our communities less safe.
So you think he doesn't understand the Constitution? Donald Trump, Jeff Sessions,
I don't know if they
even
even read the Constitution. Absolutely. I think these are the same falsehoods we're seeing perpetuated out of Washington, and Sheriff Hodgson again is parroting the same falsehoods and false rhetoric.
But isn't this a new argument? I thought the argument from people like you in the past was, we're not going to turn these people in. It's important for safety in our communities that they cooperate with police, not be scared. All of a sudden now there's a constitutional objection to this?
It's been an objection. And the Old Secure Communities Act program was found to be unconstitutional by federal courts. If you don't get a free pass in Somerville, we're going to work to turn those people in. In our community, we haven't seen a crime go up. In fact, I would welcome the sheriff to Somerville, look how crime prevention and community policing is done. And maybe he can take that newfound knowledge to Bristol County, where you've seen the second most violent crime rate in the entire
Well, let's
Commonwealth.
invite Jennifer first. He says, and he's not the only mayor who says this, the Boston mayor says it too, his community is safer because people who are here, who are undocumented, aren't scared of talking to the police. If they witness an event or they're a victim of a crime, they'll cooperate with them, which in the grand scheme of things makes everybody safer.
That may be, and if you have those arguments and you don't like the law, then take it to the federal government and get the law changed. Because guess what? Mayors do not get to choose which federal laws they're going to cooperate with and which federal laws they're not going to cooperate with. I have no doubt that the city of Somerville cooperates with the DEA and these other agencies on numerous issues, but they don't cooperate on this law, and they have to. And the federal government has every right to penalize local jurisdictions that don't.
Well, so wait, but she raises a wonderful point. Let's assume it's another federal law. And you say, they don't know what they're doing on that either. I know what's better for the community that elected me mayor. So do you just pick and choose the federal laws you want to comply with?
We are not violating any existing federal law.
The Attorney General thinks
well,
you're
yeah, I agree. I understand that's
the
what he says. I disagree.
You have to notify ICE.
Well, the law says the federal government cannot force us to do the immigration work of the federal government as well. And we do work with ICE, but the same detainers that they're referring to, they're found to be unconstitutional by federal courts.
Well,
let's just say that Trump is what? Trump's 0 for 2 in the federal courts?
1 second, what?
Trump's 0 for 2 in the federal courts? Does he want to go for the title and the belt on this one? We feel we are solid constitutional ones, but we The facts speak
You wouldn't
to the
comply
truth.
even if you didn't think you
All
had a
right, we
constitutional
By the way, I don't
Is
know
that
what-
not true?
these-
Even if you felt you had no constitutional basis for non-compliance,
I
you still wouldn't
we
comply.
believe in full compliance. First of all, we believe we're.
Am I right? I'm right. Am I not right?
I agree.
Yes.
I believe this is an unjust act, and we are in full compliance with the law, and
You know
we
what?
are furthering our community values and American values. It is a falsehood to say that undocumented immigrants drive crime up in the community. The facts don't speak to that
Right,
at all.
and you
Jennifer.
may very well be right on that, but you need to win on that argument. Look, the segregationists did not believe that they should have to comply with the desegregation orders. Guess what? They did. Our Constitution says that federal law is supreme. That's how it works.
Can we leave the courtroom and go to the real world for
Yes.
a second? Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions may say, okay, Somerville, all I know about Somerville is Barack Obama had unpaid parking tickets in Somerville and ultimately paid him when he was at Harvard Law School. But there's Boston, there's L.A.,
Yeah.
there's Chicago. Jeff Sessions is going to say to the largest communities in this country, even though they didn't vote for his boss, we're going to take away tens of millions of dollars of money that you use to keep your people safe, including in that place, Chicago, where he was threatening to bring in the National Guard because he heard it on Fox News. Is that even remotely real, or this is just gamesmanship?
Well, I'll tell you what, if it's not real, they're going to look like fools, right? Because there's nothing worse than making a threat that you don't follow through with. Just ask Barack Obama in Syria. You draw a
sort of
line
like
in the
repealing
sand.
health care.
Well, they
Yes.
just need this
right?
one to
Yes.
make themselves look like fools, Jim. Let's just agree to
No,
that.
but
They're well on their way
look,
to that.
you're absolutely right. When you promise something and you can't deliver, you lose political capital. So, yes, if he's going to come out there and say it, he needs to follow through. Any good parent knows that.
You know,
let's
you
just-
never
can
answered
we
my
put-
question about selected.
But let's just put this in the context.
Still not gonna answer it. We'll try in a
listen,
minute. Go ahead.
When you further policies like the Trump administration's and like we've heard the Attorney General, based on falsehoods, not fact, what is driving it? What is driving it? It's this old tactic of preying on people's fears, right? People seek power to villainize others, and that's what they're doing
So
here
you have a difference
to immigrants.
of opinion.
I don't think it's the type of country we want.
But you have a difference of opinion about political philosophy. There's no question about
Right.
that. But let's get back to Jennifer's question. Pick another law that you say is unjustly treating the people of
But
Somerville.
I'm not law picking here, Jim. The fact is
But you
we're not
could,
violating
based
the law.
on this
Well, I
standard.
guess, yeah, we could, but we are not here. We are not violating the existing federal law. We are in
Do you think you should go to
compliance.
jail like Hodgson suggested, Sheriff? I'm serious.
Bring it
about
on.
this.
Do I
Hodgson-
think he should
That's
go to
what-
jail?
I'm
No,
serious.
I think
He-
a city should lose federal funding. But I do want to speak to the issue of fear.
That's against the law, too, by the
Because
way.
I think that the fear-mongering is being done by the Democrats. No Republican wants to go into people's homes and rip parents away from children and send law-abiding people who may be here illegally back to their country.
By the way, they're doing it right now. I've seen
Well,
evidence
Jim,
of
that is
families
not what this
that
is
have been
about.
ripped apart. No, I
Okay,
know it's not
well,
what this is about, but they are doing it.
Okay, I will tell you that that is not what I would advocate. That is not what Paul Ryan would advocate, and I don't believe that is what Jeff Sessions would advocate. Okay, what this is about is when people come to this country and they are undocumented. If you commit a crime, you don't get to stay.
Okay, you know, but the underlying basis, as the mayor was saying a minute ago, this doesn't have legal well, I don't know if it has legal stand. Does it not trouble you that they are perpetrating a false narrative? Donald Trump is the master of anecdote, and he'll mention a horrible situation,
Yes.
like the situation in San Francisco, a young woman killed by someone here illegally. We know about in Massachusetts, there was a driver. I had the parents of the young man who was killed by the person here illegally. But the reality is what Mayor Curtatone says. The person who is here undocumented is less likely to commit a violent crime based upon statistics than a person who was born here
That
in
is
the
true,
United
but
States.
I'll tell you another statistic. A person who is here undocumented is more likely to be a victim of a crime by another undocumented person. Those people, and look, my father's from Puerto Rico. I'm part of the Hispanic community. Believe me, my people, the law-abiding people of this country, whether they're documented or not, they don't want the criminal aliens here. They want them gone.
I think, you know, I think you and I are saying the same thing, believe it or not. I want my community safe. We all do. I want people to be able to follow a process to gain permanent residence if they all do, but there's no line to stand in. All right? And the problem is not everyone is prudent in their argument as you are, Jennifer. We see falsehoods and lies being perpetuated. We see fear-mongering, and that is a fact.
On both sides,
on both
Okay,
sides.
you're a big-time lawyer. Advise. Let's assume
not a big-time
you are. Let's assume the mayor seeks your legal advice and says, even if you're right about the state of the law, he would disagree with you. Even if you're right, though, I can prove that since the day I read this that you said in the paper today, since 87 sanctuary cities, since 1987, the crime rate in my community has dropped, what, 50-some percent?
52.9%.
So
Okay.
I know for a fact that it is safer for people in my community
Right.
being a sanctuary city. What do you advise them to do?
I advise him to get together with a coalition of other mayors and take it to Washington and get the law changed. Any good lawyer will tell you that even a bad case is worth settling for a small amount. You can't expose your client to liability like this. So
Even
from
if he thinks it's an
from
unjust
a
law.
strictly liability standpoint, if we believe that Jeff Sessions is going to enforce this, as a lawyer, I would say comply.
You have 15 seconds.
So we're not going to be bullied by Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump, to villainize the immigrants in our
It's
community.
not
in this country.
villainizing anybody.
No, but that's what it is, and that's when I agreed they should change the law. And the Republicans had a chance to change the law to do immigration reform. That's what has to happen here. Real
How is it
immigration
villainizing
reform.
somebody to notify ICE when you arrest somebody for a crime?
What's it called?
5
Broken
second
tail light?
answer, we gotta go.
That was the old system. They were in a blind detainer in the warrant management system. The federal courts found that to be
Right.
unconstitutional.
Look at.
Got to go. Climate change is going to have to wait till another day.
God help the
Mayor Ferticelli,
planet.
good to see you. Thanks so much.
God help
Shannon,
Somerville.
You do, too.